Hi, friends. Welcome to ESQ Masterclass. Today's episode is part of our law student series where we interview a law student who has gone through the Socratic method so they can at least share experience on that and quell any anxiety about being picked randomly to answer a question. We want to bring these type of interviews to you because you could be a person considering to go to law school and are just a little bit confused on which law school to go to or what to expect on your first day or your 30th day or 90th day in law school. We want to, in some way, through these interviews and their experiences, and even sharing my experiences, to help you get to the next page in life, the next chapter, because it is going to be tough. And anything that we can do to shed some light on what you can expect, then we hope that you feel a little bit better based on that. We hope that you can feel more comfortable from learning from others. Today's guest is a rising 3L. Well, I guess school just started about a couple weeks ago for him. He attends Florida A&M University School of Law, where the campus is actually separated from the Tallahassee undergrad campus. The law school campus is in Orlando, Florida. He is from Plano, Texas. He has filed his intent to graduate early and graduate actually this December 2020. Today's guest actually is from my hometown, our same neighborhood. Grew up across the street. We were actually childhood best friends, and we actually went to the same undergrad. He has been an integral part of the Florida A&M community since his first year of law school. He has been awarded Governor of the Year by the Florida Young Lawyers Division, the Law School Affiliates Program. He has also been selected a scholar for the Business Law section of the Florida State Bar. Within the FAMU law community, he is a law student ambassador, Chief Justice of the Law School Court, President of the Student Animal Legal Defense Fund, Treasurer of the American Constitutional Society. And so that's just a snapshot of other organizations that he serves on. Although our guest attends Florida A&M University School of Law, he intends to return to Dallas, Texas for his legal career. We'll hear more in the interview what he's thinking about his plans for the future and what kind of impact he wants to make. Without further ado, let's dive into an interview with Simon Safir. Hey, Simon Safir, welcome to ESQ Masterclass. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Well, I believe you go to Florida A&M Law School.
I do, as it is on my shirt here.
I
I
see.
do go to
Way to represent.
love it.
So
Wouldn't change it for the world.
so that's in Orlando, Florida. But where are you currently?
I'm actually in Dallas right now. Due to COVID, everything is remote, so decided to come back home.
And what's your law school's policy now? Their procedure with conducting classes this fall.
So initially, they did say that at least the first year students were going to come back and learn the core classes in person. But after a little bit of time, they decided that the entire school was going to be remote for the entire semester.
Okay. And have you started the fall classes yet?
I have. This is actually week 2 of our classes already.
Okay. And do you have, I mean, it's only week 2, but do you see many is there any difficulty in learning remotely?
Well, our summer semester has been remote as well. So I've taken 3 classes already uh, from beginning to end in the COVID-19 time, and it is very different. Um, it's you would think that it's easier because you're at home, but at the same time, a lot of people get lazier because they are at home and not in the school setting.
I see. I think it's kind of like work. Some people say they really feel they can be more productive at the workplace. So there's
Right.
pros and cons. Well, has your law school made any decision on, or actually, is it the Florida State Bar have made any decision on, the bar exam?
They have, of course, as we've heard in Michigan and in Indiana with the software glitching. Florida this week as well has postponed the bar exam until October, which they already originally had a date set in October. but they also had an August date. But they went ahead, canceled the August date that was actually today, August 19th, and moved everything to the October bar exam.
And did they say October is going to be in person or just kind of TBD?
It's TBD right now. I know they're trying to do it in person, but at the same time, they're only putting together a, let's start with one. The October bar exam is right now in person. I believe they still want to do a 1-day bar exam, basically getting you licensed just in the state of Florida, whereas you won't be able to use any portability to any outside states.
Oh, I see. Meaning like the MBE, they wouldn't let you take that?
They're actually not even taking the MBE. It's just the Florida bar exam specific.
I see. Is it normally 2 days long?
Just like any other bar exam, it is usually 2 days long, MBE being the first day, and then if you're in a UBE states, then it would be the MEE or MPT, or like in Florida, it's the MPT as well as essays for state-specific jurisdiction.
If the state of Florida decides to do it remotely and figure out the software, appropriate software, do you anticipate taking Florida and Texas?
I don't. Originally, we planned on being in Florida and staying in Florida. After being there for the 2 years that I've been there, my wife and I decided that Florida isn't for us. We were much happier. We were much more in tune with the community here in Dallas. So we really want to come back to Dallas, and we're here now, and hopefully I'll be able to start my law career here in Dallas here in the near future.
Well, that's good to hear because I'm in Texas too, formerly Dallas. And, but I know you contribute a lot to the Florida legal, Orlando legal community. And I guess you could just call it you've been Disneyed out.
Just kind of. I can't say that my wife has been Disneyed out. She would love to go back again, probably tomorrow if she could. But
right, well, you guys have the annual pass, so you might as well take advantage of it.
Right.
Right. Well, let's take a step back. I've had some inquiries about from people who are considering law school, and so they're not there yet. They haven't even taken the LSAT yet, so really early stages. The audience doesn't know, but we actually took the LSAT together once, many years ago. So we're both at that time. I think that was our first time. So yeah, we were both a little bit hesitant, fearful. So around that stage, or when you decided to, let's talk about the LSAT. So then, what did you feel like?
I remember our LSAT together. I think this time around when I took the LSAT, I had more anxiety than I did back then. I believe because I was younger and more immature. Now I know that there's a lot more on the line. I definitely was a lot more anxious taking the LSAT this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably lost a few points because of it, because of the anxiety. But all I know is that when it came down to it, I tried my best. I studied my hardest, and fortunately, it was enough to be accepted to numerous law schools.
Okay, well, I'm glad you overcame that. Definitely, I felt some anxiety for honestly for any test, law school and the bar exam. But for me, I learned through law school that it's really just about test taking skills, right? I mean, then we translate that to the bar exam.
Absolutely.
That's something that, of course, schools don't advertise it. That's what they're helping with. But essentially, that's what I consider. So hopefully your school has prepared you for that, or you're in the midst of being prepared for that. Now, taking it one step next, or taking it to the next step, how did you end up deciding on Florida A&M? Because I know you're considering several other schools.
So originally, my wife and I went ahead and decided that we were going to move from Texas to make sure that I had no distractions, that I was able to complete my law school career without any kind of hiccups. So outside of Texas was guaranteed. Uh, I've always loved Florida. It's always been considered to me a home away from home. So I went ahead and applied to the Florida schools. And once I was accepted to a good amount of schools in Florida, I decided to take a tour of all the campuses. And campus after campus, the one that came back to my mind always was Florida A&M University. Just walking in, there's this energy about it. You know, you walk in and see the students, and they're very welcoming. They're very happy. They look like they enjoyed being there. And 2 years later, I see why, and I feel the same way that they did. You know, we are considered a family, and everyone definitely play their part to be a part of a team.
That's great to hear that you felt that a sense of community. That's how I felt at my law school, CUNY in New York. And yeah, that's really rare compared to what I've heard from other law schools. So glad you found that school. So yeah, I can imagine how much more difficult it is for you to be learning remotely, even though the assumption is that it should be easier.
You know, it's been actually a sad time for all of us. So, you know, we have a Facebook group where we chit chat with one another, but definitely being away for the summer, not being able to see anyone for the summer because of classes, and now in the fall, you can tell that the everyone's a little bit more emotional. And when it came to my time and my decision to graduate early due to COVID, I was definitely sad because of it. You know, I wanted to graduate with my peers, and I wanted to be there with them through the successes. The school will is allowing me to go to the hooding ceremony and take part in it in May, but it still isn't the same. You know, we worked together. We, you know, did everything together, and then now we're just meeting in the end to be hooded.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I actually had a law school classmate that we were studying together a lot almost 10 years ago. She actually called the office yesterday. So it was great to catch up. And so now that, I mean, Facebook existed back then, but Facebook groups weren't really that prevalent back then. I didn't
Right.
know they were available. But yeah, so I do recommend just keeping in touch with them when you can, even when you transition completely to Dallas area.
Absolutely.
Um, well, is there something about your school search that you said, okay, well, not that school because aside from the community sense of community at A&M, you know, because some people they look at certain publications and charts or like, you know, like, well, I don't know, they all look very similar on paper, right? So, of course, sounds like you would recommend a tour.
Absolutely. I'm actually a student ambassador at FAMU where I give tours to prospective students all the time. And the tour is the backbone of your decision. I mean, you won't know how you will feel about a law school until you actually go and visit that law school. Sure, there are charts out there that are going to show bar passage rates at this school, GPAs at this school, or the incoming LSAT score at that school. You'll see completely differing statistics at all schools. It's all about the student. If the student works hard enough and does what they need to do in order to succeed in law school, then those statistics mean nothing. I mean, there are those people that are going to procrastinate and be lazy, and those are the ones that probably won't do so well in law school or when it comes to the bar exam. Unfortunately, may fail the bar exam, and so that's what those statistics are. But those that work their hardest and work their best to be a great student are going to be the ones that are going to succeed, and that's at any school, whether it be Harvard, whether it be at CUNY, whether it be at FAMU. Uh, we are all learning together the same exact subjects. There's nothing different other than state jurisdiction specific. laws. But other than that, we're all learning the same thing.
And I think some people who are thinking about law school, they're like, well, I need to go to top tier schools because that's where the top tier professors are at. But can you debunk that myth, misconception?
Absolutely. I have, from the get-go, especially as an ambassador, I see the statistics and I definitely tour the faculty area to show the prospective students that we have Stanford, Yale, Harvard, graduate professors, law graduate professors teaching at our school. We also have, from Howard and from other HBCU style law schools that teach at FAMU. So we have a wide variety of professors that teach at our school, and a lot of them were even deans for law schools in the nation. Some actually even in Canada. I even know of one professor that assisted in writing the Constitution for South Africa post-apartheid.
Oh wow.
He went there, helped them write it, and was definitely a heavy hitter when it came to the post-apartheid ruling in South Africa.
Well, that's amazing. I may have to rethink, research what my law school professors, they've probably done a lot more since it's almost 10 years ago. Now, going back to, remote learning, it's been a couple weeks. How has the Socratic method been working out for the professors?
It's different. Just in general, the Socratic method is intimidating, whether you're in person or on a Zoom call. And I remember so as I was saying before, people are a lot lazier now that it's online, unfortunately. And the professors see that when they cold call a student to either brief a case or to discuss a case or law with them, and they're not prepared. And I know one professor got very upset with us because a lot of us weren't prepared. She went down her roll call, just one person after another just wasn't prepared. And it was a sad sight to see. I was upset because they're taking away from my education because they're not doing what they need to do. But at the same time, I was proud of myself for being a part of the people that did prepare for that class and that continually do prepare for that class. But the Socratic method, it's intimidating no matter what, whether you're in class or online or over the phone. It's even to this day, there are times where I'm worried that I said the wrong thing, even though I know that I said the right thing.
So then in that note, would you say that it's better in general, whatever you do, a test or answering a question, Socratic method, that just go with your gut?
Always go for your gut. Whether it's with the test or with the upcoming bar exam for myself, they always say don't second guess yourself. More than likely that the answer that you thought of is the correct answer.
Also because you don't really have time, you just got to move on. But
1.8 minutes per question.
Oh wow, was that for Texas?
That's for Texas.
I don't remember anymore. Well, okay. Now the next question is, what are some or were some challenges during law school in general? Just, I guess, getting acclimated from civilian life to a law student.
So my wife and I got married the week before law school started, and we moved to a completely different region with no friends, with nobody around, 1,000 miles away from Dallas. And for both of us, it was very difficult not having a community to engage with. And we tried going out and finding people, and we just never could find someone that was similar to our interests and what we grew up with here in Dallas. Unfortunately, my wife fell into a heavy depression because of it. And there was a time where I was worried for her well-being, her safety, and her health. And this was in my first semester of law school, and that's all I could think about. And slowly but surely, after seeking professional guidance, as well as being there to be able to support her while she's trying to support me through law school, it was definitely a challenging time for both of us. And unfortunately, my grades did show that that there was a challenge there, because every semester since then, my grades have gone upwards and upwards. But that first semester, definitely, there was a major blow because of it. And everyone is going through something, whether it's with the family, financially, anything, even with the law. And we never know what people are going through. And we always have to be sympathetic that that person maybe not doesn't have a meal at home, and we don't know that. And we just need to make sure that we're there to support them every day, every hour, throughout their entire law school career.
Well, Simon, thanks for being vulnerable to share that with the audience. Because you're right. I mean, every law student is going through, probably going through something that we can't see through their eyes, but we can maybe sense it. Did your law school, not to trying to call out your law school or anything, but did they have any resources, or did you go outside of your law school for professional resources?
We did go outside of our law school. That's not to say that my law school did not have the resources. As a student, of course, they were very supportive, and a few of my professors, as well as administration, knew of the issues that I was having and made sure to check in on a constant basis with me to make sure that I had what I needed and that my wife was doing well during that time. But when it came to the actual professional guidance, we did go to an outside source for that assistance.
It's good that thank you for mentioning that, because it sounds like you were being proactive and you told your at least some of the professors that you had something going on at home, and so that they can know that more of your attention was there, and that you're still trying your best, of course.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's helpful, because then if they go through the Socratic method and then maybe they're having a bad day and they go hard on you, they'll understand it's not necessary to do all that particular week or something.
The professors and administration are there to help you. They want you to succeed. They want to see you as a lawyer. They want to see you pass that bar exam, and they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that that happens. For the ones that try, they want to make sure that I wear their name proudly, that I proudly represent their school at all times. And they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. And I remember one of my classmates who turned into a roommate didn't have anywhere to stay while he was in Orlando. His entire family was in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
and he came up and drove 3 hours on a Monday and stayed in his car and lived in his car Monday through Thursday before going home on Friday. And once administration caught wind of that, they did whatever they could to make sure that he had somewhere to stay. And it just turned out to be that one day, he's my best friend in law school. My wife and I were like, you need to come live with us. And up until COVID, he lived with us.
That's very nice. For those that are not familiar with Florida, how far is from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando?
Fort Lauderdale to Orlando is about a 3-hour drive. And my roommate did that twice a week for every week because he had children at home to take care of and a wife.
Man, people really do what it takes. That's for sure. No, that's nice to hear. Let's see. Now, what do you appreciate or not appreciate about your experience so far?
I appreciate all of the opportunities that I've encountered, not only being a part of organizations, whether leading them or being a member of, but as well as the networking opportunities put on by the school, put on by alumni, as well as informational sessions that they put on a constant basis. I didn't even know that that you could go to law school, graduate, not have to take a bar, and have a advantage over someone. They call it JD advantage, and there's careers out there like that. I never knew that before law school, and there's definitely a lot of positions out there that if I didn't want to take a bar exam, or God forbid I didn't pass the bar exam, that those options are out there for me. And career planning and professional development are great things at any law school to make sure that you are ready and prepared to become a lawyer. As disadvantages, there's always some kind of drama, whether it be student to student, or the students want something from the school and they won't provide it, usually for budgetary reasons. There's always something.
Sure.
Don't let that get into your head. You don't get sucked into the drama of all of this. And just remember that in 3 years or 2.5 years or 4 years, you'll be out of there. And if you want to change it, at that point, become a legislator and go and change it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in your situation, because your school is a public school, right?
Public school, we don't have housing, we don't have anything. The actual campus for Florida A&M University is in Tallahassee. We're just a remote campus,
Right.
in downtown Orlando.
That's true. Um, Now, if you could turn back the clock before you started law school, what advice would you tell yourself now?
Aim higher. That is the best advice I could give myself if I went back 2 years ago. And I remember walking into law school saying, I'm just here to pass. And literally at the end of December, of course, with all the challenges I had, I just passed. And I was a straight C student coming out of my first semester of law school. And the very next semester, I was just like, you know what? Let me try and aim higher. And so that's what I did. And from that point, I became a straight B student. And then from that point, I was like, let's go even higher. And from that point, I became nearly a straight A student. And it just
That's
kept
amazing.
increasing, semester after semester from that point on.
Was there something that kicked you in the butt and said, let's get this together, or you just internally, something just triggered?
Yes and no. So there was that concern that because I was a straight C student, that now I don't have that gap. In order to succeed in law school, you need to continue with a 2.0 GPA, and being a straight C student, you're right at that level.
Oh, right. You didn't have
So the next semester, if I got a D, I probably wouldn't be here today talking with you. So
Yeah.
I needed to create that gap. Now that gap, I can get straight D's for this semester. And
I know you won't do that, but yeah, that's true.
No.
You need to have that margin of error. That's true.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you met a good amount of lawyers already so far, even before you went to law school, and just knowing what they've done, you have an idea of what you want to do. I know it's still early. You haven't taken the bar exam, but is there a type of impact you would like to do or accomplish at some point in your career? Obviously, it doesn't have to be like 2 years out, but
Absolutely. I definitely know that the impact I want to make is the impact on my community. I want to make sure that those that can't be represented, that are underrepresented, or have some kind of challenges, that I want to make sure that they are represented, whether it is in a legal aid aspect, or as a public defender, whatever it may be. I do know that I want to make sure that they can be defended properly. And even if I were to go the district attorney route, there's ways to do it there. As a prosecutor, you should know how this person is, if they are financially stable, or if they have a job, or if they can provide a meal to their family. or if they have a family of 10, so they can't go to jail. So that's the progressive part of being a prosecutor. There's always so many things that anyone can do from either side of the table. And I want to make sure that when a person leaves, yes, there could have been it could have been worse, but at the same time, they've come out uh, fairly, out of this. I do know that later in my future, I'm hoping that I'll become a judge, and that's the best way for me to be fair and just, and unbiased, and make sure that what we're going through right now is race relations, that there aren't any one-sidedness there, that those that are in different races don't get different punishments. Everyone should get the same punishment, no matter their age, race, religion, sexual orientation. Everyone should be equal, and that's why all men are created equal.
Now, do you think you have that mindset now? I'm glad, by the way, I'm glad you have those ambitions. I'm really happy for you. Do you think that your law school experience, and especially being at Florida A&M, because of your surroundings, your classmates, that they have provided more insight or perspective?
100%, absolutely, for sure. I think I'm very grateful for my experience at Florida A&M University. FAMU is known as a historically black college university, where it's the number one diverse law school in the nation. It's one of the most diverse college universities in general in the nation. And I have learned so much from my classmates, not only just with race relations, just different even social classes, genders. We have 60% women in my class, and I've learned so much from that experience with them, where a lot of people think that my political views have even changed, and they have changed. They've changed for what a reasonable person would believe to be better. And will I say that exactly? Would I believe that I'm completely on one side of a political party now? I'm not. I still believe in the other side as well. There are some aspects to both sides. I'm right in the middle, that moderate. And if it wasn't for my law school experience and finding that humility, to put it frankly, uh, I definitely probably wouldn't be I'd be a different person today because of it.
It's easier said than done. I feel like I've shared that with you before, but you just had to experience it yourself. Because at CUNY, we have LGBT students, faculty, and like you said, it's just very diverse in general. So that definitely, my law school experience in New York opened my perspectives as well.
The Walt Disney World, you would think it is, I've heard, is anti this, anti that. They used to put on our Pride Parade in Orlando, sponsor the entire thing. They're very LGBTQ allied, and they're proud of it. And of course, this could have happened because of the shooting at the nightclub in Orlando. Uh, but at the same time, it's good to see corporations being behind these key issues that are affecting our country today.
Absolutely. So I'm glad you've had that perspective because for example, when you may eventually be in a boardroom, you can add that perspective to that diverse boardroom as well, especially if other board members have been there for quite a long time. Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been a wonderful time gaining insight from you. Um, is there anything you like to share or as a takeaway for our guests, our audience?
If you are slightly, let me start over. If you are thinking about going to law school, it'll be the best decision that you've ever made in your life. No matter what law school you go to, You will learn so much about yourself, about your community, about the nation, about the world in general. And these are things that you can't learn in some other places. And with the analytical skills that you learn from law school, it will definitely bring you happiness as well as greater thinking than if you weren't going to law school. So I highly recommend it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time and insight again. And we'll talk to you soon, Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Ting.
Hi, friends. Thank you for listening. I hope you gained some value out of this interview. If you haven't yet, please hit subscribe down below, smash the like button, and please leave a comment below. Let us know what law school you're considering, and if you need any resources, we'll try to share those with you. Have a great week.